Commander Diana Hawthorne stood at the observation deck of Genesis Station, her sharp gray eyes scanning the arriving diplomatic vessels. The massive space station, humanity's pride and latest achievement in space architecture, hosted its first major interstellar peace summit. Trading vessels from 12 different species docked in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming under the distant starlight. "Commander," Lieutenant Raj Patel's voice crackled through her earpiece. "The Laserian delegation has arrived. Ambassador Neria and her daughter are being escorted to their quarters." Diana watched as the sleek Laserian ship, with its characteristic bioluminescent hull, settled into its designated berth. The Laserians, with their crystalline-based biology and advanced biotechnology, represented humanity's best chance at establishing a foothold in the galactic community. This summit needed to succeed. "Acknowledged," she responded, already moving toward the diplomatic wing. "Status on security protocols. All systems operational. Jackson's team is monitoring the lower decks. Zhang has the central hub. And I've got eyes on all major corridors." Diana's team had spent weeks preparing for this summit. Every corridor, every maintenance shaft, every possible entry and exit point had been mapped and monitored. The station's AI, maintained constant surveillance, while human security teams patrolled in rotating shifts. Ambassador Neria emerged from the docking bay, her crystalline form catching and refracting light in mesmerizing patterns. Behind her, young Vera followed, her form smaller but equally captivating. Unlike other Laserian children, Vera showed unusual interest in humans, often asking questions about their culture and history. "Commander Hawthorne," Neria's melodic voice carried the formal tones of diplomatic greeting. "Your station is impressive. The neural interfaced security systems are particularly fascinating." Diana bowed slightly, a gesture she knew the Laserians appreciated. "Welcome aboard Genesis, Ambassador. We've prepared your quarters according to your specifications. The environmental controls are adjusted to match Laserian atmospheric preferences." As they walked through the station's corridors, Diana noticed several other alien delegates watching them intently. The Varaxians, with their insectoid features, clicked their mandibles in what she recognized as disapproval. The Zentha representatives, massive beings of living plasma contained within environmental suits, turned away demonstratively. Not everyone supported this alliance. The attack came without warning. The lights flickered once, twice, then plunged the entire deck into darkness. Diana's combat instincts kicked in immediately. "Araya, report." The A's response was garbled, suggesting a sophisticated cyber attack. In the confusion, Diana heard the distinctive whine of band teleportation technology. A flash of purple light erupted between her and the Laserian delegation. "Hostile contact," she shouted, drawing her sidearm. But the attackers had planned well. EMP grenades detonated in sequence, disrupting their communications and tactical gear. Through the chaos, Diana caught glimpses of shadowy figures moving with military precision. They weren't after the ambassador. "Vera." Neria's crystalline voice shattered in panic as her daughter disappeared in another flash of purple light. The attackers vanished as quickly as they had appeared, leaving behind only the acrid smell of burnt circuitry and the echoing screams of the ambassador. Diana was already moving. "Araya, initiate Protocol Omega. Lock down all docking bays. Raj, gather the team in tactical. This is not a drill." As emergency systems slowly came back online, Diana faced the distraught ambassador. The crystal-like being's surface had dulled, a sign of extreme distress in her species. "Ambassador," Diana's voice carried steel-edged determination. "I give you my word. We will find Vera. Humanity has been called many things: brutal, aggressive, relentless. Today, those qualities will serve us well." The ambassador's response came in fractured tones. "The other species, they call humans brutal because you never abandon your own, because you fight with a ferocity that frightens them." She paused, her crystalline structure pulsing with worried light. "Will you be brutal for my daughter, Commander?" Diana's gray eyes hardened as she checked her weapon. "We'll be whatever we need to be to bring her home. Humanity protects its friends, Ambassador, and your daughter is under our protection." Within minutes, Diana's elite team assembled in the tactical room. The station's AI had already compiled preliminary data on the attack, and analysts were tracking the residual energy signatures from the illegal teleporters. As Diana briefed her team, she knew this would escalate beyond a simple rescue mission. The attackers hadn't just kidnapped an alien child, they had challenged humanity's promise of protection. They would learn why the galaxy called humans brutal. The hunt was about to begin. The tactical room aboard Genesis Station hummed with focused energy as Diana's team analyzed the attack data. Holographic displays showed energy signatures, transport vectors, and possible escape routes. Lieutenant Raj coordinated with station security, while security analyst Kendra Wilson, her dark fingers dancing across multiple interfaces, tracked the quantum wake left by the kidnappers' teleporters. "These weren't amateurs," Kendra announced, her voice tight with concentration. "The teleport signatures are scrambled, but they're leaving traces. Military-grade equipment, probably Zenthar manufacture." Diana's expression darkened. The Zenthar. Always suspected they were playing both sides. She turned to her weapons specialist, Marcus Torres, who was examining footage of the attackers. "What do you see?" Marcus, his scared face illuminated by the holographic display, pointed to specific frames. "Mixed species team. Voraxian shock troops, but the leadership. Look at their movement patterns. These are Black Shard operatives." The room fell silent. The Black Shard, a notorious mercenary organization known for taking contracts that legitimate operators wouldn't touch. Their involvement complicated matters significantly. "Commander," ARIA's synthetic voice interrupted. "Ambassador Neria requests your presence in her quarters. She claims to have relevant information." Diana found the ambassador in a darkened room, her crystalline form dimmed to almost opacity, a sign of deep emotional distress in her species. "They sent a message," Neria said without preamble, her voice carrying harmonic undertones of fear. The holographic message materialized between them. Vera, held in what appeared to be a containment field designed for crystalline life forms, her usually bright form dulled with fear. A distorted voice delivered the ultimatum: withdraw from the alliance negotiations, or watch your daughter shatter. Diana's jaw tightened. They're trying to force humanity and the Lizerians apart. "This isn't just about your daughter, Ambassador. This is about stopping our species from working together. Because they fear what we could achieve together." Neria's voice carried a new edge. "My species creates, yours builds, and together we change the balance of power in the galaxy." Diana finished. "Ambassador, I need to know, do you trust us? Really trust us? Because what comes next, some would call it excessive." Neria's crystalline form pulsed with determined light. "Commander, my people call humans brutal because you pursue your goals with an intensity that frightens them. Right now, I need that brutality." Diana nodded, activating her neural link to the tactical network. "Kendra, initiate Project Bloodhound. Full spectrum tracking protocols. Raj, get me everything on Black Shard operations in this sector. Marcus, prep the Shadow Strike for immediate launch." The Shadow Strike, a state-of-the-art human stealth vessel, represented the peak of human military technology. Its existence wasn't officially acknowledged, but its capabilities were about to be demonstrated. Within hours, Diana's team had assembled a complex web of data. The Black Shard's operation patterns, their known associates, likely staging areas, all compiled and analyzed by both human intuition and AI precision. They worked with a focused intensity that made even their alien allies uncomfortable. "Got something," Kendra announced, her voice tight with excitement. "The quantum wake analysis shows they used a series of micro-jumps. They're heading toward the Xerxes Nebula." Diana studied the projected flight path. That Xerxes Nebula, a massive cloud of ionized gas and dust, perfect for hiding bases and staging operations. The nebula intersects with three major trade routes and borders disputed space. Clever. Commander, Marcus called out, I've identified their likely destination. There's an abandoned mining facility on X-279, a planetoid in the nebula's outer ring. Recent energy signatures suggest it's active again. Diana's gray eyes narrowed as she examined the tactical display. The facility's location, the security measures they could expect, the environmental challenges. Her mind processed it all with cold efficiency. They'll expect us to negotiate, she said, addressing her team. They'll expect diplomatic channels, official protests, maybe even ransom offers. They don't understand that humanity doesn't just protect its own. We protect those under our care. The team gathered around as Diana laid out the rescue plan. It was aggressive, unconventional, and would likely violate several interstellar treaties. Nobody objected. They call us brutal, Diana continued, checking her tactical gear, because we don't stop. We don't negotiate when our people are threatened. We don't back down when faced with impossible odds. They're about to learn why. As the Shadow Strike prepared for launch, Diana received one last message from Ambassador Neria. My species values life above all else. We create, we nurture, we preserve. We don't understand violence as you do. But perhaps that's why our species need each other. Bring her back, Commander. Whatever it takes. Diana's response was simple. We will. The Shadow Strike departed Genesis Station under complete stealth, its advanced human technology rendering it invisible to conventional sensors. As they entered FTL, Diana reviewed the mission parameters one final time. The Black Shard had made a crucial mistake. They had assumed that humans would play by the rules. They were about to learn otherwise. The hunt had begun, and humanity's reputation for brutal efficiency was about to be justified. Would you like me to continue with Part 3? Into the Nest. The Shadow Strike emerged from FTL on the dark side of X-279, its stealth systems absorbing all electromagnetic emissions. Through the command viewport, Diana watched the planetoid's scarred surface rotate beneath them, its ancient mining complexes casting long shadows in the nebula's purple light. Environmental scan complete, Kendra reported, her eyes fixed on her instruments. Atmosphere's toxic, gravity at 0.7 standard. Surface temperature fluctuates between extreme cold and radiation-induced hotspots. They picked their nest well. Marcus approached with the tactical overlay. Main facilities here, he pointed to a sprawling complex half buried in the planetoid's crust. Heavy shielding, multiple defense layers. But there's a weakness. The old mining tunnels. They can't shield everything. Diana studied the complex's layout, her mind already formulating entry strategies. Raj, what's our window? Nebula interference peaks in 30 minutes, Raj answered, his fingers dancing over the navigation console. We'll have approximately 45 minutes of natural sensor coverage. Perfect. The nebula itself would help mask their approach. Sometimes, Diana reflected, the universe favored the bold. Suit up, she ordered. Full spectrum protection. We go in quiet. We hit hard. We get our girl out. No hesitation. No mercy for anyone who stands in our way. As her team prepared, Diana received an unexpected alert from Araya, who maintained a quantum link with the Shadow Strike. Commander, analysis of Black Shard communications suggests additional complications. The facility appears to be hosting a gathering of anti-alliance factions. Diana's lips curved into a cold smile. So we're not just dealing with mercenaries. The real players are on site. This changed things, made them both more complicated and more interesting. The insertion was textbook human precision. Using powered armor designed specifically for extreme environments, Diana's team descended through the mining tunnels, their movements silent despite their heavy equipment. Each step was calculated, each position covered. They moved like shadows through the abandoned passages, their helmet displays mapping safe routes through structural weaknesses. Contact, Marcus whispered over the tactical net. 2 Voraxian guards, maintenance level. Diana's hand signals deployed her team without a word. Seconds later, both guards were down, neutralized with humanity's characteristic efficiency. No alarms, no warnings. They proceeded deeper into the facility, encountering and eliminating resistance with surgical precision. Their brutality wasn't in excessive force. It was in their absolute commitment to the mission, their unwillingness to be delayed or deterred. Then they found the first evidence of broader conspiracy. "Commander," Kendra called softly, examining a security terminal they'd accessed. "This goes beyond the kidnapping. They're planning coordinated strikes across human space. The Alliance wasn't their only target." Diana absorbed this information without breaking stride. "Document everything. But Vera remains priority 1. They located the containment cells 3 levels down. Through thermal imaging, they identified Vera's distinctive crystalline signature among other heat patterns, but something wasn't right. "Too easy," Marcus muttered, voicing everyone's concerns. Diana nodded. "They're waiting for us." Kendra, options. "Their security systems are layered. Each containment cell has independent controls. If we trigger one, they all lock down," Diana finished. "Unless..." She outlined her plan quickly. It was risky, aggressive, and precisely what their opponents wouldn't expect. Humans had earned their reputation for brutality not through mindless violence, but through their willingness to take calculated risks that other species considered insane. "On my mark." Diana positioned her team. 3-2. They struck from multiple angles simultaneously. While Marcus and Raj created a distraction at the main security hub, Diana and Kendra accessed the environmental controls. In seconds, they vented specific sections of the facility, creating chaos while preserving the containment cell's integrity. Through the confusion, Diana moved with lethal purpose. When Black Shard operators responded, they found themselves facing the full fury of human combat efficiency. Diana's team had trained for exactly this type of close-quarters engagement, and they demonstrated why humans were considered among the most dangerous close combat specialists in known space. They reached Vera's cell to find additional security. Representatives from 3 different alien species, all armed with advanced weapons. They hadn't expected their human opponents to reach this far. "Last chance," Diana announced over external speakers. "Surrender or learn firsthand why they call us brutal." Their response came in the form of plasma fire. Diana's team responded with the full measure of human combat doctrine. Overwhelming force applied with precise calculation. The battle was swift, decisive, and entirely one-sided. As the last defender fell, Diana approached Vera's containment field. The young Blazerian's crystalline form brightened at their approach, hope visible in her molecular structure. "Your father sent us," Diana said softly, working to disable the containment field. "We're taking you home." But as Vera's prison powered down, facility-wide alarms began blaring. Multiple security teams would be converging on their position, and somewhere above, Diana knew the real architects of this conspiracy were preparing their response to this human intrusion. Getting in had been the easy part. Getting out would demonstrate why humans were feared across the galaxy. Diana checked her weapon and surveyed her team. Ready for Phase 2. Their determined expressions answered for them. The real fight was about to begin. Alarms screamed through the facility as Diana's team secured Vera. The young Blazerian's crystalline form pulsed with a mix of fear and relief as Kendra quickly checked her for damage. Multiple hostile groups converging, Raj reported, monitoring their tactical displays. "They're sealing all exit routes." Diana had expected this. Implement Protocol Sunfire. Her team moved with practiced efficiency, setting up defensive positions while Kendra protected Vera. This was where humanity's reputation would be earned again. The first wave hit them from 3 directions simultaneously. Voraxian shock troops, Zenthar energy wielders, and Black Shard, elite forces coordinated their attack with precise timing. Against any other species, it would have been overwhelming. But they were facing humans. Diana's team responded with devastating efficiency. Marcus deployed sonic disruptors specifically calibrated to Voraxian nervous systems. Rad's barrier technology negated the Zenthar energy attacks, and Diana herself led the close-quarters response to the Black Shard operatives. Commander, Araya's voice cut through the battle noise. I'm detecting high-level communications. The facility leaders are evacuating. Diana's eyes narrowed. Not this time. Kendra, get Vera to the extraction point. Marcus, Raj, cover them. I'm going hunting. She moved through the facility like a ghost, her combat systems interfacing seamlessly with the station's architecture. The evacuation protocols had revealed new passages, and Diana followed them up toward the command level. There, she found what she was looking for. The true architects of the conspiracy. 3 figures waited in a heavily secured chamber. A Zenthar High Commander, a Voraxian Hive Leader, and a being she recognized as one of the Black Shard's legendary Shadow Directors. Impressive. The Shadow Director spoke first, but ultimately futile. This goes beyond one child, Commander. The Alliance cannot be allowed to proceed. Because you fear us, Diana responded, her weapon ready but not yet raised. Not our weapons or our technology. You fear what happens when humans and Lizurians work together, when we combine our strengths. Your species is too aggressive, too unpredictable. The Zenthar commander's translated voice crackled. The Lizurians too advanced in their crystal tech. Together, you would upset the balance of power. That's not your decision to make. What followed was both a battle and a demonstration. Diana moved with the full capability of advanced human combat training, her actions a brutal dance of efficiency. She didn't just fight. She proved why humanity's reputation was well-earned. When it was over, she stood alone in the chamber, surrounded by disabled but living opponents. That, too, was a message. Humanity's brutality wasn't about killing. It was about winning. Brutal mercy. The extraction was textbook perfect. Diana rejoined her team as they fought their way back to the Shadow Strike, Vera protected in their midst. The young Lizurian witnessed firsthand why other species both feared and respected humans. But it was what happened next that truly demonstrated humanity's unique nature. As they secured their prisoners and prepared to leave, Diana made an unexpected decision. She ordered the release of all their tactical data, evidence of the conspiracy, the planned attacks, everything, to every major species diplomatic courts simultaneously. Why not just eliminate them? Vera asked, her crystalline form reflecting the ship's lights. They would have killed us. Diana smiled, because true strength isn't about destruction. It's about choosing when not to destroy. The return to Genesis Station became a triumph of diplomacy. The evidence Diana's team had gathered exposed the anti-alliance conspiracy. Multiple species, seeing the truth, pledged their support to the human-Lizurian alliance. Ambassador Neria, reunited with her daughter, addressed the gathered delegates. They call humans brutal. Yes, they are brutal. In their efficiency, in their determination, in their unwavering loyalty to those under their protection. But they are also brutal in their mercy, in their capacity to show strength through restraint. The alliance proceedings resumed with renewed vigor. The attempted sabotage had backfired spectacularly, bringing more species into the collaboration than before. Later, in her quarters, Diana received a message from Vera. I understand now why they call you brutal. It's not because you're violent. It's because you never stop, never compromise, never back down when protecting what matters. Thank you for being brutal for me. Diana's response was simple. That's what humans do. We protect our own. And now, you're one of us. The story spread through the galaxy, how a human rescue team had not only saved a Lizurian child, but had exposed a multi-species conspiracy. how they had demonstrated both unstoppable force and calculated restraint. They called humans brutal, yes, but now they understood. Humanity's brutality wasn't in their capacity for violence, but in their absolute commitment to their cause, whether that cause was rescue or mercy. The Human-Lizerian Alliance became the foundation of a new galactic order, one built on the understanding that true strength comes in many forms. Some create, some build, some protect. But together, they could achieve something greater than any could alone. And if anyone ever doubted humanity's place in this new order, they remembered the story of how a team of brutal humans had saved not just a child, but the future of galactic peace. Diana kept the crystal Vera had given her as a gift, a small shard that caught and reflected light in mesmerizing patterns. A reminder that sometimes the most brutal thing one can do is show mercy. The galaxy learned an important lesson. Never threaten those under human protection. They may be brutal, but that brutality serves a purpose: to protect, to defend, and sometimes to forgive. It was a lesson written in the stars themselves, in the stories told across 1,000 worlds. Humanity's brutality was not their weakness, but their strength. And that strength would help forge a new future for all species who dared to stand with them. The end.